welcome to Lipedema Unfiltered. If you are new here, I appreciate you spending your time with me today, and I hope you'll stick around for some content that is centered around what is lipedema, what is it not, what kind of tools can help you to get a proper diagnosis, what kind of things can you expect when you have this, how do you know if maybe you or a loved one has it. If you're not new here, maybe you're a little bit puzzled as to why you haven't seen my face in 5 years. First of all, I want to say thank you to all of the people who are subscribed to this channel when I haven't been putting out any content. You are the OGs. I appreciate you so much. I wanted to let you know that I've been working on relaunching this channel for the past year. We're doing a lot of work behind the scenes. A lot needed to be done to prepare for this moment, but I am here to relaunch this channel as Lipedema Unfiltered. That doesn't mean that all of the content that I used to upload is no longer relevant to my life. It definitely is. If you may remember, if you've been around here a long time, I used to make content relating to a ketogenic lifestyle. I am still doing that. I have not deviated from that because it, to me, is a lifestyle. I definitely am thriving much better eating lower carb, whole food centered, ketogenic plan, and I definitely need to continue doing that. Having lipedema means that you need to control inflammation, and the number one thing that I do to manage my inflammation is to eat foods that do not cause inflammation in my body. So the content that I had before I did take down. It's just privated because I want to maintain a certain focus here on this channel. Let's talk about what lipedema is, because that's going to be a core theme that will run through my content going forward. Is even though I'm eating in a certain way and I will be sharing recipes with you, there is a purpose to me doing things this way. There's also a purpose to me sharing information. That is why I stopped making content 5 years ago, is ultimately because I lost sight of why I was sharing this. I told myself I'd come back to YouTube when I understood my North Star and my purpose, and so that's why today you're going to see my face again. So I hope you will stick around, and I would like your feedback on some things, some questions you may have as we go along. So let's start by talking about what lipedema is. I will read you a clinical definition of this, but I will also share with you layman's terms of what's going on. So the clinical definition, according to the Cleveland Clinic, lipedema is an abnormal fat buildup on both sides of the lower body, usually in your legs, but it can also be in your arms. It can cause pain and make daily activities difficult. Lipedema doesn't respond to diet and exercise like ordinary fat. Although there isn't a cure for lipedema, treatments can help you feel better. That's a clinical definition. I do want to put out a disclaimer. I'm not a medical professional. I am not a healthcare provider. I am simply a person living with lipedema, sharing real life experience of what it's like to manage this disease. So let's talk about what lipedema feels like to a person who has it. It feels like we are so disconnected from our body because we can follow a very strict diet. We can follow all of the advice from fitness bros on the internet talking about calories in, calories out. We can exercise in not just with cardio, but also with strength training. And we can do all of the things and not see any results. It feels sometimes as if we are in a foreign body. We feel so disconnected. But ultimately, it starts to affect our mobility over time if it's not treated, or if there's some kind of life event that increases the symptoms in ways that we can't control. So over time, the worse the condition gets, it kind of feels like we have weights tied around our ankles and our knees. Sometimes, even in my case, it was around my elbows. The arms and the legs feel so heavy, so heavy. And there's nothing you can do to prevent that from happening or from getting worse. Even if you follow a strict diet, strict exercise regimen, it doesn't matter, because a lot of this condition is outside of our control. So now that you have heard a clinical definition of it and a real person layman term definition of it, why am I sharing this? Well, I do want to normalize the conversation about lipedema, mainly because this condition is very underdiagnosed and incredibly misunderstood. My body has been a topic of conversation my entire life. Not in a good way. Having lipedema means that we look different. Sometimes people can't quite put their finger on what it is that's different about us, but we look disproportionate. That's usually, I guess that's the easiest way to say it. We look disproportionate, especially when we are living an active lifestyle. There's just something that's not right. And for those of us who are looking for the answers to the questions of why do I look different? I started asking that question when I was 9. I was 9 years old. And I'm like, why do I look so different? Why do I look so different? Then as I became very active, I started running when I was 19. And I'm like, why are my legs still so heavy? It doesn't matter what I do, my legs are just fat. So those of us who are looking for answers to that question, a lot of times we're not getting the answers because the people that we're talking to are just saying, well, just lose weight, just eat different, just exercise more. I'm here to tell you that if you have lipedema, that is not going to be the answer to your problems. It can only go so far. So lipedema is a condition in which, if I can take it one step further into layman's terms, let's just consider that I'm going to show you a picture here of normal fat versus lipedema fat. And I think this will clear up some misconceptions that people can have about this and why it's not going to respond to diet and exercise. Because the adipose tissue is trapped in the connective tissue. This is what I was dealing with and what I still am dealing with. But I want to normalize the conversation around lipedema, because if you have this, or if you know someone who has this, telling them to lose weight is not going to help. And chances are the person who has lipedema, whether it be you or someone you love, you have driven yourself to insanity almost, wondering why that doesn't work for you. I want to empower people with education. There are some people who have put out content surrounding lipedema, either their own course of action that they've taken with lipedema, or maybe someone that they know. There are some people creating content that have done a lot of damage to this community, and that is not fair. That is not right. And I want to empower people with education, starting from a standpoint of, I have lived experience that I'm sharing with my audience. I want my audience to be willing to receive information and to engage in a conversation about this. It's important that we share our experiences because lipedema looks different to most people. But we need to have access to information of avenues to pursue for treatment: conservative treatments, surgical treatments, non-surgical treatments. This is a lifelong condition that requires daily maintenance in order to keep inflammation at bay, to support the body in ways to make sure that inflammation is controlled if it does happen, not long-term, so that the conditions can be kind of ebbing and flowing as opposed to chronic. These are the things that we need to talk about. How do you do that? Let's share information with each other. But I also want to advocate for change, because the pathway that I pursued to get a diagnosis was very difficult. I did have a surgery last year, 3 surgeries in total, to remove lipedema from my arms and my legs. That surgery was not covered by my insurance. I got a portion of it reimbursed, but nowhere near what the insurance companies should be covering for the damage that this had done to my body. My mobility was dwindling away, and my insurance company wouldn't cover it. So this is necessary for us to discuss what lipedema is and what it is not, so that we can get the proper access to treatments for people who have this condition. The longer you wait to treat it, the worse it's going to be to manage. So there is no better time than today to start managing this condition if you do have it. But I want people to know where they can find information to know if they do have this and how to get a diagnosis. I'm not a medical professional and I can't diagnose people, and that's not my intent here. I would not want to do that. What I want to do is to create a space where people can have honest conversations, to bring awareness to this condition on a wide scale, so that finally the medical community can recognize this condition as one that absolutely needs treatment. We need access to treatment. So I hope you'll stay around and share in this community, help us to spread awareness in a way that is dignified, in a way that supports women and men who have this condition. I will let you know that according to the medical community and the publications I've seen recently, anywhere from 10 to 12% of the world population has this condition. That's a lot of people. A lot of people who don't even know that they have this and are struggling every day to get out of bed, struggling every day to figure out why their body's not responding to diet and exercise. Some of those people have given up because they just didn't know that there was a way to treat this, that they could feel like they're connected with their body again. That's what this channel is for. I hope that you'll join me in this, that you'll engage in this community, that you will share whatever resources you may have. For those of you who I've been talking to behind the scenes the last 5 years, thank you for maintaining this communication with me. I hope that you will also come into this community. Even if you do not have lipedema, please help spread the awareness of this condition. Let's have an honest conversation, a fruitful one, but also recognize that though we are talking about women's bodies on this channel, we are going to do so in a very respectful manner. Okay? So thanks for being here. I look forward to the next video when I can get some input from you and I can share a little bit more of my experience with lipedema. Have a good day.